It just may be the hottest topic at your kitchen table. This episode of the Studio 5 Tech Check will clear the air on what smartphone is best for your teen. Deseret News columnist Amy Iverson has the reviews. Guaranteed, this is a question you get more than any other question.
Well, yeah, it's mostly when do I get my kid a phone? No one can answer that for you. But when you are ready and you feel like your kid's ready, I do have that answer.
Because that first trigger pull feels important in that you're sort of setting the bar on all of the other upgrades or the phones to come. Like, you want to get it right.
Yeah, and so you want to think about those things. And there are several things to think about. One of which is, I know a lot of people like to do the hand-me-down or buy a really old phone off KSL Classifieds or whatever. And I just did want to throw out a warning on that because, you know, sometimes they don't do security updates on those older phones. So that's one thing I would say, make sure that whatever phone you're going to do, if you're doing an older phone, is going to get those updates.
And let's define this scope. This conversation is good for what parents?
When you are ready to get your kid, when your kid is begging for a smartphone. I'm not talking about like buying them like the toy looking flip phone. This is like when they legit are like, no mom, I need a real one.
And not just the device, but what plan you're engaging becomes important.
Yeah, I think people think of a couple of things, like, do I really want to do a contract for this 13, 14-year-old? Do I want to add him to my plan, or do I want to do one of these prepaid plans? I looked back on my contract. When I added my youngest, it was $35 to my AT&T unlimited plan.
To add them to your plan?
Yes, $35. So when I looked at these no contract plans, you can get an unlimited text and calling for $10 a month, but you're only going to have 1 gig of data. And maybe it goes up from there. But so what I'm saying is, if you don't care if your kid has a lot of data, and maybe actually you don't want them to have a lot of data, a prepaid plan may be the way to go, but otherwise just throw them on your plan. It's easier to keep track.
Not significant savings really either way. iPhone versus Android, are we really going to spark this debate? Are we really going to talk about that?
Well, I think I make it easy because my belief is you stay in your lane. So if your family's a Mac family, or an iPhone, you stay there. It makes it more difficult to do parental controls and things like that. You can do it, but it makes it more difficult if you're an iPhone, they're an Android. So I would stick with your family plan.
Same, as we say at my house. Same. All right, best phone for Apple users, best smartphone, entry smartphone. What are you saying?
Okay, so we never say Apple is inexpensive, right? So it's not cheap, but their least expensive phone, most affordable phone is the iPhone SE. It's $429. Kids are gonna love that it's an iPhone. A lot of times they're like, they gotta have the iPhone, right? It is 64 gig. It's a 4.7-inch screen. Good things for parents too. Very durable, super strong glass on the front and the back. I mean, you're gonna get a case for a kid, but very durable. It has the fingerprint sensor for security. Those are all good things.
Nice. For the Android user, you're recommending the Samsung Galaxy 32.
Yes, so this is like more under $300 for the Samsung. It has actually a memory card slot, so if your kid needs a lot, kids take all videos, right? So it takes up a lot of storage, so I think that's a good thing. It also has the fingerprint sensor on the side. Security issues are big for kids who maybe aren't as smart when it comes to not getting malware on their phone.
So that will help in that department. And then can I ask about the best limited feature phone? Like, if I want the most control as a parent and I don't want them to have a long leash, what do you suggest in that case?
Yeah, because sometimes kids want a smartphone, but you're like, they're not ready. So the Gab phone, I am recommending for that. It's $149. It does not connect to the internet. So it's not a smartphone, but it looks like a smartphone, feels like a smartphone, comes preloaded with a limited number of apps that does kind of the basic stuff like phone, music, camera, stuff like that. And then they can feel like they're part of the crowd with the smartphone, even though they're not going to be having those dangers of the actual internet.
I was going to say they can feel like they're part of the cool club, but I withheld. I'm not going to say that because I think...
Me too. That's why I just said club.
And I appreciate more and more parents are normalizing like the Gab phone and other limited use brands because I think if not all of the friends have the iPhone, it makes it... We're doing it for us, but it makes it a little bit easier, to not have to feel like you cave.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to keep them safer, of course, but I do think you do need to introduce those things to kids. As I've always said, it's part of life. You just need to teach them how to do it responsibly.
How to use it right. Thank you so much. Amy, more details in your column?
Yeah, Deseret.com/Amy.
You can link to this conversation and all of her columns from previous months and years to keep us up to speed on our tech knowledge.